Hi everybody, it's Franny, and today we're going to be replacing the hood or bonnet struts on our Porsche 993. I picked up a set of Stabilis replacement struts here. So they're kind of interesting. There's a pin on one side and a ball joint on the other. So the ball joint is just like the one that was on the 996, where there's a clip on the back here that we can stick a screwdriver in. So the ball actually goes down on the bottom and the pin is at the top, which is awesome because you gotta see this in here. There's like zero room to work and it's way down in a cavern. So it's going to be kind of interesting. I think we won't have too much trouble getting the old one off, but getting the new one popped on, it's going to be interesting. And then we just replace the, pull the pin and hook it back up on the top. Should be fairly straightforward, but I think it's going to be a little fiddly getting that thing on. So step one's going to be to prop up the bonnet so it doesn't conk us on the head when we get started. So in order to get this clip off, you're going to need a long, small screwdriver with a small blade on the end of it. So I think this is called a carburetor tuning screwdriver. So on these ball joints here, it's a little hard to see, but there's actually a metal clip across it here. And then there's a slot that you can stick a screwdriver into and sort of pry this guy up a little bit. We need to do that so we can release the ball, and that's the only way you're really going to be able to do it. Now you're going to be coming in from the length of this down, and there's a pretty good little cutout right down here that you can use, that you can stick your screwdriver into, just like that, and wiggle this clip up. At least that's the idea. So you'll see it's awfully tight in here, so let's take a look. Okay, so following this down, you can see my screwdriver following this down. Okay, so I've got my screwdriver hooked on that clip. I'm going to pry it out, so you can see there. All right, now that it's out all the way, in theory, we should be able to get that ball off. It should just pop off. If we can get behind it here and sort of pop it off. There it goes. I can see it moving. There we go. And my strut fell. Oh, that's great. No, that worked great. Oh, God. So make sure your hood prop is actually strong enough to hold up the hood. So mine wasn't, conked me on the head. So I got a much better one this time. Okay, great. So now that we have the ball off at the bottom and our strut is loose, we can remove the pin at the top. So it just has a little clip on it. You just sort of pop it up, pull the pin out. Pretty simple. Okay, so we're just going to pop this little bit up here. There we go. And then that allows you to sort of slide it backwards and off. Off comes the clip. Okay, so now our clip is off. We can pull our pin out, hold on to your strut. There we go, and it'll just come right out. All right, we have our old strut out. We have our pin and our clip. Next step is going to just be to clean the ball down at the bottom there that this guy was on, because it's kind of greasy and could be kind of schmutzy. And then we're going to clean this pin as well and put a small amount of grease on it as well. It doesn't look like it ever had any grease, and it's pretty black and kind of bad. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then installation is just the reverse. Now with our new strut, we got two possibilities. We can put the ball joint on first, or we can put the pin on first. The pin, this joint here, sits up inside those two pieces of metal. And if you go and put the ball joint in, it's going to sit up too high and you won't be able to get it up underneath and into the slot underneath there. So we're going to go ahead and put the pin in first, and then we'll work the ball on second. Don't want to forget to clean the ball off down at the bottom. Now, the Stabilis struts here are kind of nice. The new ones have a bit of grease already in this ball joint, so I guess you could add a little bit if you think you need to, but it's already nice that they're pre-greased. That opening down there is so small, I can't even get my hand in there. So I've just got my microfiber towel and just put the screwdriver around it, just kind of wipe it off down there. I'm going to add just a little bit of grease to that ball joint. I don't know about the other manufacturers, but like I said, the Stabilis has a little bit of grease in here, but always just a little bit more. And I think it'll also help when we try to get it on as well, to have that nice and greased. I can't really get to the ball very well below there, so I'm going to just kind of add a little bit here and hope that lubricates the ball pretty well. Okay, well, we're all set here to put this back on. Now you want to make sure, we're going to put the pin at the top in first, but you want to make sure that your ball joint is pointing the right direction. Don't put it in 180 degrees out, then you're going to have a fuss. You just have to take it off and do it again. So make sure that this is pointing outward, or this way towards me. And we're going to fit our new strut here. And we need to grease our pin just a tad. Just a little bit here, just to give it a little bit of lubricant, because it looks like it didn't have any on it. Probably not a bad idea for it. All right, there we go, all greased. All right, double checking our orientation. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna fit the pin back in. It comes in from the outside to the center here. Okay, in like that. Kind of spin it around a little bit. All right. Now we just refit our clip. This direction, if I remember correctly. Just like that. They just snap on. They're pretty easy. All right. We have our ball joint sitting over the ball but not snapped in. I'm going to use the end of the screwdriver and push it down there and try and pry it on and see if it should pop. You should hear it go snap. Oof. So just grab your strut and try to push it off. It shouldn't come off. And if it's on solid, you're good. Feels like it's on. It didn't make quite the popping, clicking noise I was hoping, but it feels solid. So I think this one's good. So everything looks great here. Our ball joint is sitting on the ball as it should. Our pin is back in and it's greased. So we're all good here. We're going to go ahead and do the other side. It's just the same as this one. Now with the two struts back in, we'll go ahead and test it here. Pull it down. Now it's not springing up super fast, but it is at least staying where we put it. So it's not going to fall down and conk us on the head, which is great. All right, and we want to make sure that our ball joints are on the balls on each side and completely secure in there. They'll pop off if you go up and down a couple of times. They'll eventually snap off. So looks like they're in and everything's great. So we're all done here. I did learn a couple of things. Make sure your prop that you use for your hood is strong, and so when you pull one of those struts off, it doesn't come down and conk you on the head like it did for me. And the second thing is, I think is really important, is to put a little extra grease on those ball joints. They're just going to slip on that ball much easier down there on the bottom. It's going to make your life a lot easier because that's super duper tight in there on both sides. In fact, on the left side of the car, it's even worse. I can barely even get my hand down in there. So you're going to have to use the bottom of a screwdriver and sort of work it down in there and kind of work around a little bit and then tunk and pop it in. But the grease is going to really, really help with that. All right, well, so I hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you got any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them down below and I'll get right to them. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, safe travels. Bye.